Hey friends, things are heating up around here with my restoration project of the 1949 Harmony Stella that I have in process, and I went up once again to Jake Wildwood's shop up in Rochester, Vermont, and made some more progress on the guitar that I want to show you. And I can barely contain myself because it looks like the next visit that I'm able to do, it's going to be playable. I look forward to stringing that thing up. So I thought I'd show you a little bit about my trip up there and show you the guitar as it sits right now in process. I headed out of town, and of course I swing through the beautiful city of Boston on my way up north into the country. Lonesome country roads in the hillsides of Vermont. I made a small detour on the way up there and took a few extra minutes so I could cut through the Keechee Gorge. And this is the north side of the gorge, and here's the south side of the gorge. There must have been an incident at the bridge since I was last there, because they did not have chain link fences up prior to that, so it seems like they needed a little more security there. But you could still get the effect of the river. It's quite a nice little stop to make on the way. Got to see some quintessential Vermont. There are lots of barns and beautiful country roads once I got off the highway and arrived at Jake Wildwood's place. Once I got set up in the shop, our first task was to put on the neck. And here's the neck sitting in there dry as I fit the shims inside the dovetail joint. We ended up using 2 shims on either side, and the fit's pretty good. It was really tight when it was just mocked up. And then before we glued it up, we started working on the bridge. And he had some fretboard blank material that he really likes for bridges. And I cut out the size of bridge that I wanted from that piece of wood that he had. But I cut out the rectangle so it will be in the traditional style of an old Gibson bridge, which is also here on my Blues 51. It's just the standard bridge shape that we're familiar with. A rectangle with some sloped wings and a rounded back. Here we're just confirming the placement of the bridge so that it is double the length from the nut to the 12th fret. It's an equal length from the 12th fret into the body of the guitar, and it fit nicely on the bridge plate that I installed in there, which is plenty wide. It's going to fit perfectly. I was also, as an aside, I was very, very happy with how flat the top of this guitar ended up being, because when it was separate from the body, the braces had an arc, so the whole top was actually curved, and now that it's glued, it is like tabletop flat. And then Jake cut out the wings on the bandsaw, and then we took it over to the sander, the belt sander, and we sanded those wings down and rounded out a back edge on that bridge. And as you can see, I already started working on the top of the guitar where it's going to be glued, so it was all clean and smooth. Once we had the spot for the bridge sanded out, we then started gluing up both projects. So we took the shims, put them in the dovetail, and then we clamped it up. We clamped it right to the fretboard. There's 2 clamps here. There's a front one that is just lightly clamped there a little bit to press the fingerboard extension to the body. And then I set to the task of clamping the bridge. We got some glue on there, and then we used 3 clamps to make it tight. And I realized that there was a little separation on the back of the upper bout of the guitar that needed to be glued, so I actually did glue around the top shoulder of the guitar on the back, and then put some spool clamps on it. I didn't capture a picture. So there's 3 clamping jobs on that guitar as I left it with him sit overnight. And it's in that state right now, and he'll take those off, put it back in the case for me until I can get there again. And that's really the final stretch for this guitar. It is so close. I'm so psyched that it is imminent that I'm going to play it. Carrying on from that, once all my work was glued up, which didn't actually take us all that time to prep and clamp and glue everything out, I actually was able to do a little bit more work for him in the shop, and so he handed me this classical guitar that needed a bridge re-glue. I prepped the surface, I prepped the underside of the bridge, and we got that bridge clamped on that guitar. I also worked on a steel string Epiphone guitar that's pretty new, and its bridge was lifting, so I actually popped that bridge off with a spatula, prepped the surface below, prepped the bottom of the bridge, and we got that thing re-glued. So I was able to work on my guitar and 2 other guitars under his watch, and got some experience there with some bridge removal, preparation, and bridge re-gluing, which is actually something I really enjoy. I've done a few of those, and I actually find it pretty fun to do. It's really nice to be in the workshop, and as you can see here, there's a lot of wonderful guitars to experiment on. I have to stay focused when I'm in there and keep myself working on the projects so that I don't disappear into the showroom and just taste test every guitar. So I did get to taste test a few. I probably played 4 or 5 right before I left, but it started to snow, wet and heavy, and I hit the road before that came. And that's my latest update. I can't wait till I get up there again and string that thing up. The next step is to route out the saddle slot and bore out the peg holes. And that's going to be that. You know, there's a ages worth of touch-up I could do on that guitar, but as you can see, its charm is in how weathered it is. So I'm going to leave it weathered. Maybe I'll put a pick guard, a really thin pick guard in the pick guard imprint that is left there, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I might leave it as is and just play it. Can't wait to get back. So grateful for Jake to let me do some work in the shop, and happy to get more experience right shoulder to shoulder with him. And I can't wait for the next update. That's going to be a big one. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching. Take good care. We'll see you in the next one.